So I already did all this, and I'm just going to show this part, but I've already measured all this. And one thing that Shane Craig says that's not true is, I'll just play it and then I'll talk about it. Is comparing these screen sizes, saying that this one is more narrow and the screen is wider. But in fact, like I told you, if you looked at my recent and last videos, if you see the screen, right, the display right here versus the black bar versus the frame, and if you look on this side, as you can tell, all of that is slightly thinner, right? So when you're looking at the black bar, this one's, you can tell it's not, I'm not going to say twice the size, but it's, time and a half. And then if you look at this, the frame, they're similar, but then it's kind of a thicker, I guess you would say a hinge, wider. And the bottoms, well, you would have to, as you can tell, this one's at a corner or a point, and this is curved. So, but we're talking about just from this part to the top, from the top to the bottom, in the middle, we're talking about this center part here. I've already measured it from the screen, just the screen where you can see that's lit up, not the frame, not the black bar here of the bezel. We're talking just the display, just the screen here, and all that you can tell. And I've already measured. I've already went out and tested it 3 times. Lasered rulers, measuring sticks, and they're exactly the same in narrow, in length, and they're both the same size. And even though this one looks narrower, it's not true. It's just the way it's sort of an illusion, and they do that because they're really good at text, right? So if it's a main screen, they'll have the main information, whatever it is, larger. Like when you have a time, the time will be larger, and the rest of the background, the rest of it will be smaller. That's what they do really, really good. So like, see, for example, the 55 is a lot larger, and on other apps, what it will do is it'll scale down some of the other stuff, but for the main part that you're focused on, like today's date, right, it'll be a lot larger. And then if you had like an XL, or if it's for the iPhones, it'll be the Pro Maxes. For Samsung, it will be the Ultras, and that's what they do. If you compare them, the screen's a lot bigger, but they kind of look similar in photos and videos, because the main stuff, they actually increase that to about the same size, and then the background, like in the back here, it'll actually be smaller, the context. So like, you can go onto TikTok and you'll see that some of the stuff, it looks exact because it's centered. Remember, it's set to this screen size, but then some of the information, because that's what they do with their software, is that they'll make the main stuff that they want to show bigger, larger, so it kind of looks the same, but when you look at the back, it's actually smaller. And it does that on almost every app. That's the way it's designed, to make it seem like it's larger. For example, it'll be like 5 apps here, and you'll look at the other one, it'll be 5 apps, but look what you're doing, right? These apps are larger. And if you take this, if of course they're all gathered up, bunched up here, but even if you took that, they are smaller. And that just gives the illusion like, oh, that one might be bigger than it really is. And so I'll just play it so you can show it here. And I've already put it side by side. Like I told you yesterday, we went out there, went to 3 different places, finally found it. So let's see if we can get it. There we go. Let's see if we can get it. No, he can't do it. So see, coming right out from the bat, as you can tell, he's measuring it from here. He's measuring it from the frame to the frame, and says, oh, well, see, it's wider. And yes, the physical size of the Pixel 9 and the Pixel 10 are wider. The body of it, but not the screen. And that's what's most important to most people, is that it's not about the wide design. They want to know if the screen is any wider, because you could say this is 3.2, or you can say it's 4 inches wide, which would be wild, but you could say it's 4 inches wide. But it could have a screen, and I don't have the other one to show you, but let me see. Well, hold on a second. All right, so here we go. This is a picture of the Pixel Fold. And if you guys notice about that, look at these bezels, right? So pretend this was a different phone, phone, and this is the Pixel Fold here, and you can see just where the bezel's at, right? See the black mark? So imagine this was a different phone, and you could say, oh, well, look how much screen it is, right? But then when you go up here, if you can tell, it's thicker here. And, you might say, oh, well, but that actually does count a lot, because it just makes the device overall larger, and you're losing what is supposed to be the screen real estate, right? You're losing the space that you can actually watch, right? It's just the bezel. And so see how it's thinner here, and you can see it's thicker here. That's the illusion. And I don't know if we can get any closer than this, but as you can tell, it's an illusion. So what he's trying to do is trying to measure it from the bottom here, get them lined up from either from the hinge or from wherever it opens. He's trying to get them lined up here exactly, and then come up here and say, oh, well, see, it's wider. But that doesn't matter if it's wider. It's about how much is usable space. And as you can tell, from here, it's the frame. And look how tiny that little bezel is. Versus this bezel, which is clearly, as you can tell, that runs along all the higher side. As you can tell, the Galaxy Fold 7 is more of a corner. This is a curve. And you can tell the difference between the bezels, especially on the sides here. I mean, this is just, the entire thing is the thickness from the top to the bottom. As you can tell, the bezel on the Samsung Fold 7, very thin. Razor, I would even say 1.5, 2 times, double the bezel. And then, of course, on the outside, it's just the frame of it. And so, but I already went here. I know it may look like this, and it's hard to tell because this one's, at the corner and this is curved. But in fact, as you can tell here, if you can get it right, where this screen starts off, it's already in the black bezel. And if you go up here, as you can clearly tell that there's more screen on top. But once you take out where the bezel's at and you bring this one up where it starts, not at the curve. We're not starting at the curve. We're starting in the middle part, right? The middle section from where for the frame, the black bezel, and then from where the screen is to this, wherever you can see the actual display, that's where we're going to measure. And when you measure this, which I've already did it 3 times, and I compared it in store also, and the person there, they're very nice, very kind, and actually was able to take it out of the display, which to pull it out and be able to actually do that. So from this point to this point, just the screen, versus this point to this point on this screen, it's actually the exact same size. And once you raise this up a little bit, and you kind of look up here, this actually will be the same size. I know you can't tell because it's very, I can't zoom in any more than this, but if we had a laser, you could easily see that once, it's just the way it is, and it's because the curve, right? The curve kind of tapers in this way. And then why it looks so different, it's because Shane Craig is really not understanding just the measurement of everything around it, right? And we're talking about not just 3D, but even 4D. So for example, he's measuring it from the top, right? From our view, right? Our perspective. But when you're talking about 3D versus 4D dimensional, you're looking at it from the perspective of just focused, right? Like you're just staring at it, but he's not understanding that. So if I press with my 2 fingers, I got 2 fingers, and I wanted to press on this screen and I wanted to press on this screen is actually a few millimeters back more because it's thinner, and because you have to measure this table or whatever it's on, versus this, which would be actually higher up, closer to the camera. So like my hand here, you can't tell which one's closer because it's at an angle.